From being the jewel of Ajax's crown, dubbed the next Pogba, to his big money move to Bayern that failed, to being one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. This is the story of the Bayern reject who transformed Liverpool's midfielder. In this video, we'll talk about how Arne Slot transformed Ryan and what he needs to improve on to become world class. But before we talk about that, let's go back to where it all began. Ajax. He's just 16 years old, still a teenager, and already making his first team debut for Ajax. 16! I mean, what were we all doing at 16?
And there is the little boy becoming a man. Lamine Yamal, what a story. 16. What were you doing when you were 16? Modric could be his father. Young and innovative, maybe just a beginning for Spain.
Probably stressing about exams or figuring out how to fake confidence at school. Meanwhile, Gravenberch was bossing midfield in one of Europe's top leagues like it was nothing. He was showing his skills, and that's why Erik ten Hag liked him. First off, his composure on the ball. It was ridiculous for someone his age. He wasn't just another kid running around with raw talent, he played with the kind of maturity that made you think, wait, how is this guy not 25? His ability to glide past defenders with those long strides was unreal. He's got this way of moving that almost feels effortless, like watching a ballerina perform. Except, he's 6'3" and built like a tank. And the stats? Oh, they backed it all up. In his final full season at Ajax, he racked up 3 goals and 6 assists in the league. But forget just the goals, it was everything else he brought to the game. He was averaging over 1.5 key passes per game, progressing the ball with ease and completing passes at an accuracy rate of nearly 90%. And defensively, the guy wasn't afraid to put in the work. Tackles, interceptions, you name it. Under Erik ten Hag, Ajax's manager at that time, Gravenberch was a key part of the midfield. Ten Hag gave him the freedom to roam, dictate, play, and showcase his creativity. Ajax was playing their signature style, high-pressing, free-flowing football, and Gravenberch thrived in it. He wasn't just good, he was essential. And don't even get me started on the Champions League performances. If you saw him playing during Ajax's European runs, you know what I'm talking about. These were moments when he looked like a seasoned veteran going toe-to-toe with some of Europe's best. Scouts from every top club were drooling over him. Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern, they all wanted a piece of him. Ajax was the perfect playground for young talents to shine. The club's philosophy, the Eredivisie's focus on technical football, it was the perfect environment for Gravenberch to develop. He had the freedom to make mistakes and learn, which is exactly what young players need. But like with all Ajax stars, you knew it was only a matter of time before the bigger clubs came calling. And in 2022, Bayern Munich came knocking, a club with a legacy of snapping up top-tier talents from across Europe. At the time, it felt like a dream move, a step up to one of the biggest clubs in the world. When Gravenberch signed for Bayern Munich in 2022, it felt like a no-brainer. I mean, it's Bayern, the kings of the Bundesliga, perennial Champions League contenders, and a club that knows how to get the best out of young talent. On paper, it looked perfect, but in reality, it was anything but perfect. From day one, the signs were, let's just say, not great. For starters, minutes, or rather lack of them. Gravenberch didn't just struggle to break into the starting 11, he barely got on the pitch. He played just over 900 minutes across all competitions in his first season. 900 minutes, that's less than 10 full matches over an entire season. For a guy who was supposed to be one of Europe's most promising midfielders, that's career limbo. And then there's the system. Bayern's midfield is a war zone. Joshua Kimmich, Leon Goretzka, Jamal Musiala, and Konrad Lehmer. These are guys who are already established, and Bayern's system? It's not exactly built to nurture young talent. They're a machine focused on winning now, not giving players time to grow. Gravenberch was thrown into a rigid, high-intensity setup that didn't play to his strengths. Remember how I said he thrived at Ajax because he had freedom? Yeah, that freedom was nowhere to be found in Bavaria. Instead of being the creative, roaming playmaker, he was expected to play a more disciplined role, one that limited his instincts. Grafenberg isn't a robot. He's the kind of player who needs to express himself on the ball, take risks, and dictate the flow of the game. At Bayern, it felt like they were trying to turn him into just another cog in the machine. And the worst part? The media and fans didn't hold back. The minute you don't perform at Bayern, the criticism starts flying. People started calling him a flop, a wasted transfer, even questioning whether he was ever that good at Ajax. It's brutal, man. Imagine being 20 years old in a new country at one of the biggest clubs in the world, and suddenly everyone's acting like you're some kind of fraud. You could see it in his body language too. He looked frustrated and disconnected, like he didn't know where he fit in this Bayern puzzle. And honestly, who could blame him? You've got to feel for the guy. This was supposed to be his big break, and instead it felt like his career was stalling. Then came the summer transfer window of 2023, and Bayern was ready to cut their losses, and Liverpool was ready to take their chances on him. But you see, when Liverpool signed him, not everyone was convinced. Fans were like, why are we bringing in this Bayern benchwarmer? Is this the guy who's going to fix our midfield? And honestly, they had every right to be skeptical. Grafenberg was coming off a disastrous season. His confidence was shot, his form was in question, and it felt like Liverpool was taking a gamble. And Klopp? Oh, Klopp was not about to go easy on him. You know how Klopp is. He demands intensity, consistency, and 100% effort every game. Grafenberg, though? He struggled to adapt. There were moments when you'd see Klopp shouting at him on the sidelines, pointing out mistakes, calling him out for his lack of focus or defensive effort. It was rough. By the end of the first season at Liverpool, history was repeating itself. Grafenberg wasn't living up to the hype, and there were even talks of him being sold off. Liverpool was reportedly eyeing Martin Zubimendi as a replacement, but guess what? Zubimendi rejected the move, and honestly, that might have been the lifeline Grafenberg needed because something big was about to happen to him. But before we talk about his redemption arc and how he was able to achieve that, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. This would help us. Thank you. This season under Arne Slot, Grafenberg has been playing like an absolute monster. Not only is he excelling in a completely new role, but he's also stepped up in a way that's made him arguably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. If you told me this a year ago, I might have raised an eyebrow. But look at him now. Grafenberg is shining under the guidance of Arne Slot, and let me tell you, the impact he's had on this Liverpool side has been nothing short of spectacular. So what's been going on? How has Slot managed to get the best out of Ryan in ways we never saw under Klopp? Grafenberg has become one of the best midfielders in the Premier League this season, not just because he's playing in a new system, but because he's excelling in a new role altogether. Grafenberg has been at the heart of Liverpool's resurgence, and his stats speak volumes. In terms of tackling and interceptions, he's nearly doubled his numbers compared to last season. In the Premier League, he's made 16 tackles with an impressive 81% success rate. Compare that to last season's numbers, and it's clear this transformation is real. And that's not all. His duels? He's winning 63% of his 71 total duels, which is fantastic for any midfielder. And in a standout performance against Wolves, he won 8 out of 8 duels, showcasing that when it comes to physicality and grit, he's been top tier. Now, what's even more eye-catching is his passing game. We all know how important it is controlling the tempo of the game for this new Liverpool. And Grafenberg has done just that. In the Premier League this season, he's consistently made over 50 passes per game, with a jaw-dropping accuracy rate of 90%. In one match against Wolves, he completed 57 out of 62 passes. That's not just good, that's elite stuff. He's not just passing sideways either. His ability to switch play and progress the ball forward has been a huge asset. And when Liverpool is looking to transition quickly, he's right there in the thick of it, using his dribbles through the middle to speed things up and maintain a balance between defence and attack. But all this is down to some changes by Arne Slot. You've got to remember, this kid is just 22, and when Klopp was in charge, he was barely getting a look in, playing more of a squad player role. Fast forward to this season under Slot, and Grafenberg has become Liverpool's rock in defensive midfield. He started every Premier League and Champions League game so far, playing a full 90 minutes in all of them, a far cry from last season where he only started 12 Premier League games. The key to this transformation has been Slot's tactical adjustments. Grafenberg is no longer just a defensive midfielder who sits deep and breaks up play. Under Slot, he's been given more freedom to influence the game from the middle of the park, even pushing forward when needed, all while maintaining his defensive responsibilities. What's so remarkable about him is his ability to slow down the tempo when required and then ramp it up with those driving runs through the middle. This allows Liverpool to be more dynamic in possession and adds a new dimension to their play, which wasn't as present last season. Now, one of the most exciting things about Grafenberg this season is his ability to seamlessly act as a link between defence and attack. He's the perfect pivot, always looking to get the ball out of tricky situations in defence and into the more advanced players like Mohamed Salah and Cody Gakpo. His movement is exceptional. When Liverpool are pressed by the opposition, Grafenberg doesn't drop deep into the defensive line like most defensive midfielders. Instead, he pushes forward into space to receive the ball on the move, allowing him to instantly turn and either carry the ball or pass it off to progress the play. It's this fluidity that made Liverpool so hard to break down this season. What's also been huge for Grafenberg's development is his versatility. Under Klopp, he was often seen as more of a box-to-box midfielder, a player with great potential but lacking the consistency required to thrive in a single position. Now, under Slot's guidance, he's fully embraced the defensive midfield role, and you can see the difference. His positioning has become more disciplined, his reading of the game has improved, and he's been able to dictate play much more effectively. What's also impressive is his defensive work rate. While he may not be putting in the same high-pressure, full-throttle style that we saw under Klopp, he's been incredible at covering ground, making interceptions and slowing down opposition attacks. His 21 interceptions this season are among the highest in the league, and his defensive actions, whether interceptions, tackles or recoveries, are a big reason why Liverpool has been so difficult to break down this season. What makes this whole transformation even more incredible is the way he's been able to adapt to Slot's tactical system. If you look at Liverpool's midfield, it's been a combination of youth and experience. Grafenberg and Alexis Mac Allister shining through, but Grafenberg in particular has been the key player in allowing the team to play a more balanced, controlled style while also being a threat on the break. His maturity, his ability to control the game, and his defensive intelligence have allowed Liverpool to dominate possession and defend effectively without leaving themselves exposed. Ryan Grafenberg under Arne Slot has been nothing short of a revelation. The transformation from last season, where he was just a squad player, to this season's dominant midfield presence is incredible. Slot's trust in him to play a more defensive yet dynamic role has helped him develop into one of the top midfielders in the Premier League this season. But as good as he is this season, there are still some things that Grafenberg can improve on to be a world-class player. First up, his decision-making under pressure. Grafenberg is fantastic when he has time and space, but when teams press high or close him down quickly, there are still moments where he struggles to make the right choice in tight decisions. It's not always about what he can do on the ball, it's about how quickly he reads the situation and reacts. At the top level, you're up against players who will capitalise on any indecision, and if he can fine-tune that composure in these pressured scenarios, it'll be a game changer. Next, his consistency with shooting and long-range passing. Now, we all know that Grafenberg can pass the ball, but when it comes to picking out those killer passes or scoring from distance, he's still a bit hit or miss. A world-class defender needs to be able to dictate play, not just through short passes, but with vision and precision from all areas of the pitch. Imagine Grafenberg adding a consistent long-range shot to his arsenal. He'd be unstoppable. That ability to threaten the goal from outside the box or hit those long diagonal balls into the wings could take him from good to great. Defensive positioning is another area where he can improve. While his work rate and physicality are impressive, there are still moments where his positioning gets caught out. Top-class defensive midfielders like N'Golo Kante or Fabinho have an almost supernatural ability to always be in the right place at the right time. Grafenberg needs to continue honing his positioning off the ball, especially when his team is defending in transitions or counter-press situations. Getting that balance between protecting the backline and being a presence further up the pitch is key to becoming world-class. Grafenberg has the potential to be one of the best midfielders in Europe, but these areas, decision-making under pressure, consistency in shooting and passing, and defensive positioning are the final pieces that will elevate his game. But what do you think? Can he get to world-class status? Well, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.